October 3rd, 1968. Fair, cooler, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Delton, Michigan, at Aunt Glenna's. Dear ones, Dad left Tuesday about 5 p.m. for Idaho. Earl Johncock and Gerald Anders went with him. They were all excited as usual and full of anticipation. We had such nice weather to get everything ready. Aunt Glenna was coming over to get me, to bring me home with her, and she brought Gerald and all of his stuff too. Then Aunt Glenna got Dorleen's rug shampoo cleaner so we could clean their living room rug and bedroom too. So we got that done yesterday forenoon before we went to Robert Wilcox's funeral at 1:30. The funeral was at the Presbyterian Church in Hastings. We parked by the courthouse. Almond went with us from his job. We didn't go on to the cemetery at Plainwell. Bob had suffered so long, 1.5 to 2 years, and from a strong, husky man, he'd dwindled away until he was just a skeleton. I hadn't seen him lately, and I was really shocked. He didn't look like Bob at all. There were whirls of flowers and so many plants that they were lined up all along the sides of the church auditorium, in the windows, and along the tops of the radiators. The pastor of the church gave the sermon, and Uncle Isaac read scripture and offered prayers. It's a good thing Uncle Isaac didn't have to give the sermon, as he had such a bad cold and infected throat and chest for almost a week. His voice sounded very good, though, and he managed not to cough. Isaac and Lena had been so faithful to call on Robert through his long illness. Wilcoxes had attended the Presbyterian Church for quite a long time, and the pastor and Uncle Isaac knew Bob was ready to meet Jesus. Bob was very active in civic affairs and will be missed by many, and of course his own family. Margaret had been so faithful through all of his illness and had spent about all day every day for months with him at Pennock Hospital. Sometimes they'd bring him home on a weekend, but he suffered so he'd have to go right back. The cancer destroyed his liver. Dorleen said she was so thankful her father didn't linger like Bob. I was so lazy this morning. I was awake quite a while towards the morning and then fell asleep and slept until 8 o'clock. Seems like I've been so weary lately trying to get everything done for your dad and get my own things ready. Besides, we suddenly decided last Friday to get wood for the fireplace. Over on Southeast Gun Lake near the Fawn Lake Road, men had just cut big trees and taken the logs and the tops. We could have the wood if we'd cut them up and haul it away, so I helped Dad all Friday afternoon. If I'd known what big heavy blocks they'd be, I wouldn't have told Dad we wanted it, but I worried he'd make himself sick sawing with the chainsaw and then lifting the big blocks. I couldn't lift. The men who wore burning brush tops helped load some big blocks too. When Tom, Jim, and Philip got home from school, they helped us load and unload several pickup loads of wood. I was surprised how strong they are. Even Philip could lift about as much as I could. Friday evening was cool, so I built a fire in our fireplace, and we kept it burning until Tuesday. We surely enjoyed the glowing fire those cool days. It has been quite warm again lately. The autumn colors are beginning to make our area and these hills of home a gorgeous fairyland. I wish I had the movie camera here, but of course Dad has it. John Moore, David Johncock, and Stephen Osgood left last evening for Idaho to hunt with Dad and the others. They had a camper so could drive right through and take turns sleeping on the mattress in the camper. I expect Dad back in about 2 weeks, but he'll miss our rally day this Sunday and our missionary speaker the next week. Tomorrow evening is the big silver wedding anniversary for Uncle Isaac and Aunt Leona at the schoolhouse. Jenny and Barbara are co-hostesses. Barbara Anders is decorating a beautiful cake, and they'll serve punch. I brought our punch bowl set. I brought Jasper, my bird, along too, in fact. I had so much junk to bring. I was a burden. I brought stuff to fix for the potluck dinner Sunday for Rally Day 2, etc. Aunt Glenna's bird is out singing Jasper. I'm sure he's just being a show-off. Ha, ha. Aunt Glenna is making up a box to send to Richard and Tink. Little Kim Marie is having her birthday about October 21st, so they are sending her a little dress and slip, etc. She's a cutie. Richard and Tink are getting quite well settled and enjoy their new home in Cuba. They've had some heavy rains, so the grass is growing, and then Dick waters the grass too. Some flowering shrubs are in bloom now too. Aunt Mildred's letter sounds as though she's rather lonely since she went back, but she's meeting new people at church. If I stayed with Aunt Glenna long, I'm afraid I'll gain a lot of weight, as she really feeds me too well, and I enjoy it. Aunt Glenna wants to go to mail the package, so I must close. I hope the boys and Beau are enjoying their football and don't get hurt. Give them some kisses and hugs for us and David, too. Give our love to Betty and Sandra's families. May God bless you all and your dear ones at home and at church. We love you. God bless and keep you always. Lovingly, Mom, minus your dad and Aunt Glenna and Uncle Al.